Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy J Dash. This is Crash with Dash Play the Objective. And today I'm going to go over a couple of higher level strategy that a lot of players are actually not using in this game. So the frame data has come out, and as I told you all before, every move is pretty much negative. I think Wu Rizhong, or whatever her name is, the chick with the shield, has two normals that are at 0. I believe it's like close and neutral A, light attack when close proximity, that are at 0, but everything else is negative. So this is always going to be a chess match on, is it okay if I attack, how negative am I, and all those things. Now, the first thing I've noticed that a lot of people aren't doing, and I talked about this in my Hallmark video, is actually whiff canceling, okay? Now, there are certain things that we can whiff cancel. We can whiff cancel our normals, and the thing is, we need to figure out which ones we can whiff cancel. And I told you guys, like, Hallmark's far down C is whiff cancelable. So the thing about whiff canceling is, this is a very good bait tool, because we know everything is super negative in Sam Show. So usually things lead to counterattacks when you see a whiff. People always try to counter. And someone like Haomaru, the good thing is he's got a DP. So you could always whiff cancel into a very, very punishable thing, because DPs usually punish everything in Sam Show, most people's DPs. But there's a couple other things we can whiff cancel to. Number one, a weapon flipping technique can be whiff canceled as well. And so if you need if you see somebody reacting to your whiff, you can always cancel to your weapon flipping technique. And that's something else you can cancel into. The last thing that you can cancel to that I don't see anybody really using, and this is probably the best way to use it, is to actually cancel it into your reflect. Okay, so you can cancel a whiff into a reflect. If somebody's trying to counterpoke your whiff, you can always cancel into a reflect as well. And we know the advantages to reflecting. It's the easiest way to get your super special move off. The other thing that I've always told you guys is, and I've heard a couple of people, I'm not going to name names, and I'm not saying that they don't know what they're talking about. They do know what they're talking about, but I think they kind of assessed these wrong. These normals like this that have very little recovery up close, that really the normal comes out. And let me switch to somebody else to give you guys a better example of this. It'll make more sense because I told you guys, the ones with the blue particle effects, they're not truly using their weapon. They're technically they're using their like a limb from their body that is not actually their weapon. Okay, so this is going to be for some real advanced stuff right here. And some characters are going to be better than it than others. So far, every character, I haven't dabbled with every single character, but every character that I've dabbled with has one of these. Okay, some better than others, some setups better than others, and things like that. And this is going to get to a really advanced strategy that you can use with this game here. So as the game is loading, it's here. Okay, these close proximity normals that do not use your weapon on block that leave the blue particle effects, meaning that they're not using their weapon. And this is why when you're on defense, you need to pay attention to the particle effects before you counter attack. And I'm going to explain why. Some of these are actually cancelable, and you don't need to wait for the reflex. Okay? You don't need to wait. See, that as a weapon. See the difference between the particle effects? That is not. So there's a difference. But some of these are cancelable directly into the special move. Alright, so if it's a cancelable normal on hit, on block, it's still cancelable without the reflection, or waiting for the reflection and then canceling the reflection. Because, the general rule of thumb is if I use a light attack that you can, reflect, you can punish me with the light, right? And it's also cancelable into their weapon flipping technique, even on block. Right? And I guess Yoshitori's is a low, so that's something new for me because I don't really use Yoshitor. But you can cancel it into your weapon flipping technique, and you can also cancel it into your reflect. And that's the big deal, an instant cancel into your flex. So if somebody tries to counter you with a down light, or I mean a standing light up close, like Nakaruru has a weapon light that is up close. Now because I'm doing it by myself, I'm going to try my best to get this to work. I'm going to have to, it's pretty difficult what I'm trying to do here, because I have to truly utilize, I'm not good at the recording, but you just trust me. Nakaruru can counter with standing light off of a blocked light, and if you do this, you can reflect and go right into super move, force her to burn her rage meter, and it's things like that that'll help you advance in this game. I'm going to try my best to get it to work here. I forgot that I turned the PlayStation off, but let's see if we can get it to work. Okay. So, I'm doing it by myself here. I gotta pause it at a faster time than that. Okay, here we go. So I may be able to get this to work. Let's see. So, I'm gonna now change her to player control. And I'm just spamming light, and right there, boom. Full punish into super. And this is why you have to pay attention to these normals that have the blue particle effects when you're the one on defense. Because when you're the one on defense, you need to be careful to make sure that it's not a cancelable normal, and you need to know which characters can cancel these normals and which ones can't. Okay, and I think that these strategies are going to have a huge impact on tiers, because as we could see, he due to the fact that Yoshitora has cancelable far range normals, he can bait and then go right into a special move. Not every character can. For example, Charlotte has no far cancelable normals. And some of the characters, you need to also not just try their slashes, because some of the characters, their cancel is actually their kick. It's not like Nakaruru, for example. She has none close that she can do that are, close proximity normals with limbs versus her sword, but you could do it with her kick. Shiki is another example. So Shiki, normally you have to wait for a weapon reflect to do anything with Shiki, and this is why I say, like, it's still a little too early to really mess with tiers. I don't think that everybody's doing everything in the game yet to really say this character's significantly better than that, because, for example, Genjiro doesn't have many strong options, because everybody knows that his standing kick is cancelable, but it's on the second kick. And the third kick is coming if he doesn't cancel it anyway, so you're still blocking. So it doesn't mean that it still leads to setups with Genjiro, but for example with Shiki, look at that. Right? You don't need to wait for the weapon reflect animation. It gives you this. Now, of course, this is a cheese move. You don't want to depend or revolve your whole gameplay around this. This is a cheese move, like you can close the round. If you can get close with Shiki, boom. Because remember, Shiki has a full screen punish with her super special anyway, if somebody's trying to zone from afar or anything like that. So Shiki does have better options than people are giving her. See, it's her kick though, because see, you can see all her close proximity normals. They don't have the blue particle effect, so she seems like, damn, well, what do I do? Shiki doesn't have this. I've heard she's bad, but it's actually her kick. See? You can go from kick right into reflect. You can go to kick right into weapon flipping technique. You can go to kick right into any of her specials. Boom, without worrying about the reflection recovery. Now this just, as I said, adds to the chess match of the game. And the last character I wanted to really mention this about, because people are constantly on this guy about how bad he is this guy Kyoshiro. Because though he doesn't have far standing cancelable normals, which I said, you know, that's a big advantage when you do have a far standing cancelable normal, because you can bait C's from afar into a reflect, and we all know when you reflect a C, you knock their weapon out, and there's a huge disadvantage when somebody doesn't have their weapon. A huge disadvantage. And, you know, in this game, it's really, really bad to not have your weapon. So, but Kyoshiro, I don't believe has any from that one. So he does have his standing light from afar. So I take that back. So never mind about that aspect of Kyoshiro. But Kyoshiro, who's, you know, notoriously known as a bad character in this game, has 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those normals up close that have the blue particle effects, and these moves are way less negative according to the frame data. So, see, boom. Somebody puts you in a corner situation, you can poke with down normal, and you have a free escape from the corner. Okay, so your down medium punch is true combo into that. Anyway, like if I put it on hit, that's a true combo if they're not guarding. See, that's a true combo. So, the beautiful thing about it is, when they are guarding, you can still activate it and still get any access to any move, including reflect, right? Boom. So Kyoshiro has a ton of options. The standing close medium slash is not cancelable at all, so that's why this one doesn't do it, but you can still wait for the recovery, and boom. And honestly, unless they have a very close light, these light cancels aren't going to really work anyway, unless it's a Nakaruru or a Shiki or somebody who has a close light sword attack, which is why this standing close medium becomes really effective, because you can whip that out before they hit you with any punish, because you cannot cancel it. So Kyoshiro is really, because you can see that down medium is a little too fast. There's not going to be much that you're going to be able to punish with that. Maybe a Shaw, I don't even know if you can do that to special moves, the reflect. I've never really tried. But this is a beautiful one because there's no real recovery that you need to worry about. You're just going straight into it. They look like every time you block an attack, it's the opponent's turn, and boom, you can reflect. So this is something that I've realized that a lot of people aren't doing, is doing, you know, whiff cancels into special moves, but especially reflect. Weapon flipping technique. You know, there's so many things you can do in this game that I think is still a little too early to say these are the tiers. You know, there's still a lot that we all can learn about this game before we have a definitive tier list. And I'm not saying that, you know, Ginjiro is not strong, but I'm saying there's still a lot that we can learn before we have a definitive tier list. And that's all I'm saying. See, little tricks like this you can do with Kyoshiro. The down medium, and when people think it's their turn, cancel into the low frog grab. You know, there's little tricks like that. And that's all I'm saying. Is toy around with your character, but add this to your game. You know, especially the far standing normal whiff cancels. I think that adds an element to certain characters. And as I said, someone like Kyoshiro, you get a free escape from the corner. You know, but you know, if you can get that, you know, you can buffer it, and then if they block, you get a free escape from the corner. You go back to your zone with Kyoshiro. That's it. I'm not saying that this makes Kyoshiro top tier. I'm just saying it's another option that we need to consider when we're judging the worth of characters in this game. Another thing I want to see people start doing, and this is just a last tidbit, I've mentioned it before I stop, is everybody says that there's no counter to the grabs, there's no way to tech grabs, and all you gotta do is dodge. So just dodge, and then you get to punish the grab. It's actually way advantageous. If somebody grabs and you do this, you have full combo. Boom, and you'll be able to punish. Alright, so those are just some advanced tips that I want to see people implementing into their game. Remember, look at all your normals that have the blue particle effects, which I believe means that it cannot be reflected. See which ones are cancelable, because you don't need to wait to cancel off of reflection recovery like you need to do with all these other moves. Like, oh, I can cancel, but I need to wait till the recovery. Well, this is a cancelable normal, and I can cancel instantly, right? And so, because what you'll notice, and the reason why this is important, you'll notice a lot of moves can get punished in between. Once the reflection happens, you'll notice that they can poke you out of it. Versus these, there is no poke out of it. Yeah, you'll normally win the trade, depending on which move you do in the startup of the move. You'll normally win that trade, and that's what this game is always about: is winning every exchange you possibly can. All right, but just keep in mind, Kyoshiro has 3 of these up close, and you can see the blue particle effects. So when you're on defense, make sure you pay attention to the particle effects. Okay, because the particle effects are a big clue on, man, can they do something like this versus, you know, if they're far. Okay, I know they can do that, but they need to recover slightly, and I can probably poke them out with the light. So it just changes the whole game by having these to it. So just keep that in mind as you're playing Sam Show. There's still a lot to learn about this game, and that's all I'm really asking us to do, is to learn more before we make our final decisions about who's this, who's that, and all these other things, because we can all grow when it comes to this game. Alright, so this is J-Dash, this is Crash with Dash. I appreciate any views, any comments, subscriptions, follows, anything.